Alright guys, back with another video. So yesterday Pierre released a new policy ad where he says a new conservative government will give judges the power to sentence severely addicted offenders into mandatory treatment. We will help our most vulnerable loved ones take back control of their lives with care and compassion to bring them home drug-free for a change. So it's just over 2 minutes here. Let's have a look at this and we'll talk about it after like usual.
Free will. It is my most important principle. People must be free to decide how to live their lives, but they must actually be free to make those decisions. So what happens when addiction robs them of that freedom? A cruel master takes control, dictating their every move, stripping them of their senses, and possibly driving them to kill themselves and others. In the last 10 years, opioids have claimed 50,000 Canadian lives.
Sorry to pause it so early, but the point he made there about freedom is very interesting, right? So, someone who's more libertarian-minded might say something like, well, live and let live and, do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone else. Well, the problem with that, from like a populist standpoint, would be, well, if you're hurting yourself, you're hurting society. You can't say that you're free when you're enslaved by a drug or by an addiction. Right now, you're not free anymore. You're a slave to your drug dealer. You're a slave to the fentanyl or the heroin or whichever drug it is. So you're not free when you're doing something like that. You actually kind of enslaved yourself. So I think that's a really, really good point by Pierre.
These victims did not choose their fate. They lost the ability to choose altogether. To save others from the same fate, we must step in and help them break free from this tyrant. That's why today, as part of my plan to bring our loved ones home drug-free, I'm announcing a commitment to amend the criminal code to empower judges to order mandatory drug treatment. This involuntary treatment will be rare and follow due process. This would serve as an alternative to prison for those whose only offenses involve possession of small amounts of drugs for personal use, alongside other minor infractions where provincial legislation permits. To be clear, it would still be a crime to be in possession of prohibited substances. It's just that a new solution would be offered to help the person in that possession recover and turn their lives around. For more serious offenders who belong in prison, judges will be able to mandate in-prison drug treatment when addiction is a factor in their crimes. We will also require mandatory drug testing in prison to make sure that prisoners are getting rehabilitated, not getting high when they're behind bars. Involuntary treatment will come on top of other steps to stop the drugs. We will also secure the borders to keep drugs out, lock up fentanyl kingpins with life sentences, and cancel the unsafe supply of taxpayer-funded drugs. This will help addicts recover and reclaim their lives. Common sense conservatives will work to end the drug crisis and restore our country's promise. In a country where hard work gets you a great life, in a beautiful home, on a safe street, protected by strong borders and brave troops under a proud flag. A country that cares for its most vulnerable. Canada first. For a change. Let's bring it home.
So, I gotta be honest with you, that might be one of his best, policy releases or ads, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen in some time, if ever. And a lot of people will say to me, Danny, sounds like authoritarianism, like you were complaining about during COVID when you were upset that there were mandates. Well, this is also a mandate. Well, here's the difference. The mandates didn't work. The lockdowns didn't work. Masks didn't work. You got your vaccine and then you got COVID, didn't you? It did not provably work. It was not provably better for society. By the way, for those of you who say, well, no, the vaccine saved lives. You know what really saves lives? A healthy immune system. There's crap in our food, our water, no one's taking their hormones, and no one's taking their vitamins. If those things were reversed, a lot less people would have vanished from COVID. That's how that works. If you have a healthier immune system, you're going to stay healthier and you can fight off diseases better. You don't have to be a so-called expert to know this. This policy, taking people off the streets mandatorily, is more of a populist idea, which, again, I'm a big fan of that. Yes, it's mandatory. Yes, you could make a weak argument and say it's authoritarianism, but it's not, because it is provably better for society to not have drug addicts, homeless people, needles on the street. It's provably better. I can't even imagine someone even arguing that. No, I actually think it's good to have people on the street. Like, no. No, it's not. And again, they're not free to make their own choices because they are addicted. So you have to help them out of it. And the only way you can do that is to get them in treatment. It's a fantastic policy idea. So for any of you so-called liberals who are, I don't even know if you're liberal anymore. I don't know what the right word to call it is. But for those of you who have said that Pierre Poilievre doesn't have anything new, he just rants and attacks people and slogans. Well, how about this? There's a great policy idea. Not to mention cutting 15% of your income taxes. It's another great idea. So what do you? I don't know what you got to say to that, but I'm sure you'll make up something, or I'm sure you'll go watch Rosemary Barton and she'll tell you what to think. But that's fine. You can be wrong again. You're liberal. You should be used to it by now. But either way, let me know what you guys think of this ad. I think it's great. Please don't be shy. Let me know your feelings. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with a new video.